Hey, a couple things to catch you up. If you weren't here with us last week, we sort of announced a few things that are happening in the life of our church that we wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. The first has to do with Milal. And what I want you to do, throw this up, Gretchen. We're going to say this together. Me-lal. Me-lal. Okay. It's not Moal, as we, sloppy Western white people say. In Korean, it's Milal, which means a grain of wheat. For the longest, maybe a year, we were referring to our Korean fellowship as Moal, and they didn't know what that was. And we're like, no, we're talking about you guys. And they're like, oh, Milal. So, Milal. And what we announced last week is that we are so excited that God is finally, according to our kind of timeline, opened the door for us to formally partner with Milal, a Korean fellowship. And they have been sort of a friend or sister ministry for about a year now, but we are kind of making it official, so to speak. And starting next month, they will be joining together with us as one church. And we're still trying to figure out some of the intricacies of that relationship and what it looks like. We want them to be able to kind of preserve the space where they're able to be together, speak in their native language, operate in their native culture, and value that. But we also want to learn from them and to welcome them in to our fellowship as well. So we'll be navigating that. But for several years now, it's kind of been a dream and a prayer that Antioch would be able to become a fellowship or a church that truly reflects the diversity, the creativity, the beauty of God in becoming a multicultural church, and that's starting to happen. And so we are so excited to welcome Milal, and if you see them around, make sure you give them a hug and welcome them to the family. So, sound good? Very good. The other thing I announced last week and make sure everybody knows about is that this weekend, Saturday actually, I will be driving up to Gig Harbor outside Seattle, where I'll begin a 21-day silent retreat. And for me, this is something that I'm so looking forward to. Feels like God has opened the door for this to happen at just the right time in my life and in my story. And the retreat is called A Journey Inward. And what it looks like is me in a cabin by myself for 3 weeks. I'll meet with a psychologist and spiritual director every morning. And he'll give me some kind of prompts and work to do throughout the day. But the rest of the time, I'm completely alone. So no books, no screens, no music, no outside contact of any kind, just me and Jesus together. And I know for some of you that sounds like a punishment, and others of you that sounds amazing. For me, it sounds amazing, and I'm so excited to be able to go away and to spend some time in silence and in solitude, creating space in my life for God to speak and to heal and to rebuild and to call me forward. And so one of the things, in addition to kind of no books and all that stuff, is the director requests no cardio. So if you'd pray for me, that's such a temptation in my life to constantly... It's not that funny, is it? Oh, I guess it is. That's not one of my temptations. But let me read to you one of the books I'm reading in preparation is by Henry Nouwen. And just so you kind of understand a little bit more where I'm at and what I'm looking forward to. He says, solitude is the furnace of transformation. Without solitude, we remain victims of our society and continue to be entangled in the illusions of the false self. Jesus himself entered into this furnace. There he was tempted with 3 compulsions of the world: to be relevant, turn stones into loaves; to be spectacular, throw yourself down; and to be powerful. I will give you all these kingdoms. There he affirmed God as the only source of his identity. Solitude is the place of the great struggle and the great encounter with the loving God who offers himself as the substance of the new self. And so for me, this is one of the kind of ideas or prayers that's shaping the way I enter into this experience. Just, it's not vacation. It is going to be a fight with God, with my old self, but I go in incredibly hopeful to meet him there and to receive life from him in a much needed way. And so I want to just express my gratitude to this congregation. You guys have been so supportive and so encouraging. And freeing me up to get away and to do this thing. And specifically, I want to express gratitude to the elders. And this team of men have been so instrumental in kind of my journey of healing and recovery over the last year or so. And these guys serve the church in a lot of different ways, but one of the ways they serve the church is by serving as a safe space for me, a place to be myself, a place to confess my sins, a place to share my struggles. And I can't imagine what the last year would have been like without these guys. And so grateful for those that serve on our elder team. And so you won't see me again for about 5 or 6 weeks, actually. I'll take off this Saturday and spend 3 weeks up in a cabin and then have a week or two of re-entry on the other side. While I'm gone, I'm really excited that the rest of our pastors are going to be covering Sundays. Pastor Nathan, Evan, Linda, Jarrell are each going to take a Sunday, and they're going to be leading us through a study through the book of Ruth, which should be a really fascinating look at this story of a faithful God who then calls his people to have a faithful presence in the world. So you guys will be in good hands. Sound good? Any questions? All right. Really pray for me on that cardio thing. I'm going to be so tempted just to do some CrossFit or something. So